this is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Wow.
I understand Bill O'Reilly's on.
Let's
go to Bill O'Reilly.
Absolutely. Let's go to breaking news because there's some new stuff, especially about this case in New York, John, where they found out that they had some more explosives. These are the ISIS-inspired attackers. And here's a little bit of breaking news on that.
Breaking news, WABC.
They just investigated a storage locker attached to one of these guys. Remember the ones who had the devices near Gracie Mansion over the weekend? And they found some more improvised explosive devices that looked like they could have caused a lot of harm. And the feds, thank goodness, exploded those, controlled explosion of those.
Rita, was this a mostly peaceful terrorist attack?
Yeah, right, right. According to some people in leadership, unfortunately. Well, joining us now to talk about all of this is Bill O'Reilly, of course, the great nonfiction author. And Bill, you also have a new podcast, too, so huge congrats. Fill us in on what you think. This is a huge threat to New York and elsewhere.
Sure. There's a culture in New York City now that's different than even a year ago when Eric Adams was the mayor. And the culture is attracting real radical people into the city. Now, these two guys, I don't think there's a lot of thinking behind what they did, and people should just step back. They will never get out of prison. The Fed's sentencing guidelines for terrorist activities are really harsh. And that's not the reason they won't get out of prison, because they're going to have to be isolated or somebody's going to hurt them inside the federal penitentiary. So these guys, I believe, are probably emotionally unstable, but they were part of a group of radical people in America that have lost all sight of right and wrong and of legal and illegal. And they strut around like they can do whatever they want to do. And New York is a magnet for those kinds of people. So is San Francisco. These are the two main metro areas that really attract the hardcore. These guys have no idea who ISIS is. If you Rita sat down with them and gave them a quiz about ISIS, they wouldn't be able to answer what it is. They're just dopey younger people, probably consumed by social media. But now their lives are over.
Let me ask you, Bill O'Reilly, in the studio with us today, we got Craig Eaton, 12 years the GOP chair in Brooklyn. We have George Venizelos, formerly with the FBI, he was in charge for 4 years of New York, assistant director in charge of New York, 4 years. It's a long time. And Judge Weinberg, who was such a tough judge, they got rid of him because he was too tough of a judge for some of the mayors we had. Because his reputation was he'll get you out of jail when your time is up. Maybe.
Badge of honor.
So, guys, Craig Eaton, you want to say something to Bill O'Reilly?
We were talking earlier. We were saying that, things are strange here in New York and around the country. You had the kidnapping today. You have 18 and 19-year-olds setting bombs off in the street of New York City. The U.S. attorney needs to vigorously and quickly prosecute these two young kids and send a message to all the other people out there that if this is what you do, this is what your punishment will be.
Absolutely, because that's the only way to deter them.
Exactly.
But you're not going to be able to deter the real fanatics who don't care about their lives. They're like the ISIS suicide bombers. They think they're going to go to Allah and get rewarded or whatever they think. But I'm pleased that it's a federal case because Bragg, the local DA in Manhattan, you don't know what that man's going to do. This isn't a snowball fight. But even at the elevated charges that we'll see against these two guys, you don't know what Bragg's going to do. He doesn't have any respect for the justice system, in my opinion, and that brings in a lot of people.
I got one thing I have to say, sidebar. Jay Clayton, I got to know pretty well. Jay Clayton is running for the federal government. He's not in charge, but he's working with all the federal agencies together to keep New Yorkers safe. And whether Bragg does something or not, if he has the ability, the federal government is going to close in on them if they have the ability to do it, and that's what Jay Clayton is doing. I interrupted you.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, that's what's necessary. But my point is that when you elect a radical guy like Mamdani, there are a lot of unintended consequences that come with that. And I'm not blaming Mamdani for this crazy bomb thing. It's not his fault. But his view of life is so different than the traditional view of crime and punishment. I mean, he doesn't see that there's a deterrence in punishing people who want to hurt other people. He doesn't understand that or doesn't want to understand it. So the combination of a mayor who's permissive and a inexplicable district attorney who doesn't really care about justice at all, in my opinion, brings in the worst elements that you could possibly bring in. And that's what we're seeing in New York City.
George, go ahead.
Yeah, Bill, I can't agree with you more. And I think people like them, they look at these criminals, they're victims. They're not victims. You know, they're going to create victims if they were successful. You know, and I think the biggest threat right now is these lone wolf type people inspired in the internet and stuff like that. They're hard to find. They're hard to see coming. And I think everybody has to be aware, see something, say something right now, because it's going to be like this for a little while now. It's a dangerous situation right now in New York and other places in the country.
And you know the other thing too, George Venizelos, and Bill too, one of the things, if this is correct, the attorney for, I think it was for the 18-year-old, there was an 18 and 19-year-old who had those devices in New York. Mm-hmm. He came out and he said he doesn't believe that, according to the family, that they knew each other. If that's true, that's troubling, because then what, did they meet online? Because they were going through this ISIS propaganda. It makes you wonder who else is going through online. Your thoughts about all of that, Bill? Just sort of these, you know, whether they're true believers or whether they're just, you know, young kids who are getting indoctrinated. Either way, it's hard to detect if they didn't know each other. The
only positive aspect of the story, Rita, is that these were clowns. They're not professionals. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have, you want to use the term lone wolf, you're going to have a lot of crazy, emotionally disturbed people acting out in ways that are destructive. But the real fear amongst intelligence people are the professional cadres, the people who come in and pulled off 9/11. And the World Trade bombing before that, the people who pulled off October 7th. Mm-hmm. These are professional people. So far, the U.S. government has done a very good job in preventing those kinds of attacks, so that these guys, I mean, you know, come on, you take one look at them and you know who they are, but that doesn't mitigate what they did, and it certainly will not mitigate the punishment in the federal court. Nobody's going to be feeling sorry for them. They're going to go away for a long time. Yep, as they should. Yep, absolutely. You know, the problem is, Bill, and I'm looking at George when we say this, even if they are, crazed versus true believer types, either way, the damage, think about had those devices gone off, you heard it from the NYPD, and they wanted a bigger effect than the Boston Marathon bombing. Right. Judge Weinberg, your thoughts?
I think, to Bill's point before, you're talking about a culture that the leadership of New York is embraced. So, for example, this kid Khalil, who led the demonstrations up at Columbia, the anti-Semitic,
Mahmoud Khalil,
pro-Hamas demonstrations. He's wined and dined at Gracie Mansion. Really, Mamdani's married to a woman who embraced on social media the killings, the torture, the brutality, the rapes of October 7th and said that that was a fraud. I mean, really?
Yeah, Bill, what are your thoughts about that? And also the Mahmoud Khalil thing that Judge Weinberg just brought up, the fact that he has dinner with them, this story just breaks. And then he's parading this guy and says he's an act of courage. He's using him as a symbol.
Well, that's what the people voted for. Mamdani didn't hide any of this.
No, you're right.
You're
right.
Around saying the most outrageous things you could possibly say. And then the people who wanted free bus rides said, I don't care. I want free bus rides. I mean, that's where we're descending in not every area of the country, certainly not in the South and the Midwest, but in the coastal cities. I mean, we're really on the skids here. And the only protection we have is the federal government. You don't have state and local protection in California or Illinois or Minnesota. You don't have it. It doesn't exist anymore. And so you wonder why, people go to Minnesota and steal billions of dollars from the federal government, because they can. They know they can get away with it there. And that's what the point I'm trying to make, is that under a Mamdani in New York, those people are going to come here because they know the odds of them getting away with scams and violence is much higher than if you were in Oxford, Mississippi.
Craig Eaton.
Bill, he's sending the wrong message. He's the mayor of every citizen of New York City. And when he comes out and says, I'm honored to host Khalil at Gracie Mansion for dinner, he's inciting all of these other people to commit violence. I mean, he's making a major mistake here. He needs to be very, very careful how he proceeds.
But he's not going to do that. I mean, this is a 34-year-old fanatic. He's not going to change unless, Jesus appears to him on Holy Thursday and says, hey, wise up. Even then, I don't think he would do it.
No, you're right.
He's just not. And then, look, on March 26th, I got a special on News Nation called The Collapse of San Francisco. It's really worth watching. And we get into how this evolution out there where there are no criminals, everybody's a victim, as you guys pointed out, has led to anarchy and death and destruction across the board. It's harrowing. It's absolutely harrowing. And before Mamdani was elected, I said, if he is elected, this is the way New York City is going to go. And it's on its way.
Yeah, and sadly, of course, with everything going on with Iran, as I'm looking at George Boyd, the lights are blinking. It's such a high-threat environment, and then you got this mayor. Bill, thank you very, very much. We always love having you on, Bill. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.